Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Junkies. I'm Nick Zigic, a local broker here in Monrovia. And today we're going to talk about something very exciting, and that is if you have an insurance policy, what is covered and what is not. The what is not is what we're talking about today. And with me today is MarkEWu, my friend, insurance agent, a person that has been in the St. Gabriel Valley here for 25 years. You got to know something about this, right?
I absolutely do, Nick.
Mark, we're talking about things that are not covered. Let's say earthquake insurance. Let's start somewhere.
Right. Many people don't realize that their policies exclude earthquakes or earth movement. So if an earthquake damages their home, their structure, things break apart in an earthquake, they are not covered. It is a separate policy that they must purchase.
Okay. Well, before we start lining up everything that's not included, you want to kind of dig into, the structure of the policy so that we know what's included, excluded things?
Sure. Well, normally a policy will cover perils like fire, wind, hail, smoke, explosion, falling objects like a tree falling on top of somebody's house, a plane engine coming down, de-icing, coming through somebody's roof.
Is that covered?
All right, those are, yes, they are.
Good.
Those are the normal perils.
All right. So let's say I own a business and I have an office, but I have also a business at home. So I bring stuff at home and the home burns up, whatever. Is it covered?
Well, you are going to be, you're going to have very minimum coverage if you're a businessman. For instance, there are many plumbers. There are people that are in the photography business where they have tens of thousands of dollars of business equipment. A plumber would have tens of thousands of tools, a contractor, accountant, which brings lots of his computers and whatnot.
If we take all this equipment home to shoot?
That is absolutely correct. And what they'll find out is that each policy has a very limitations on business contents when it's within the home. So it's important for them to read their policy because they are not going to be covered for a majority of their items. And if, for instance, like the accountant, he has people coming into their home and they get hurt, possibly they will be excluded from the liability. Will definitely be excluded because that was a business liability.
Right. Now, when you brought that up, obviously there might be a remedy for that. So can a person purchase additional insurance to cover certain things like that?
They can absolutely purchase. There are called in-home business coverages that they can purchase. Or a contractor would buy things like inland marine on their own commercial policy.
Good. So let's move on. Let's say wear and tear.
Wear and tear is something that is oftentimes also a confusing aspect. People think, hey, my roof is about to go, insurance has to surely cover that, and that's not the case, all right? So wear and tear, maintenance, regular maintenance and all that is not covered. If your AC goes out, if your refrigerator goes out and all that, that's what a home warranty insurance covers. And home insurance excludes all that.
Okay. Now, there's other things like flood insurance.
That's absolutely correct as well. Flood is one of the hardest and most misunderstood coverage. Everybody thinks that, hey, if there's water in my home, it's automatically covered.
Right.
But surface water is something that's excluded. In fact, if it's oftentimes the rain or water hits the ground first, comes into your house and causes damage, that is going to be an excluded peril. So that could be surface water from pipes bursting outside. It could be torrential rains, whatnot. A separate policy in California you have to purchase, which is a flood policy. Now, a bursted pipes within the house is something that is covered, but surface water coming outside is not.
So that's one thing that I actually did want to extend. So if your pipes break in the house and you have a flood in the house, you have we can kind of cover with the stuff if you own a home or if you're in a condo.
Right.
You might create damage for the bottom condo.
Right.
Would that kind of be separate things lined out in a different insurance?
That would not be lined out because if the bursting of the pipes happen inside, then it really, for homeowners insurance, there most likely would be afforded coverage for the individual homeowner. As far as the condo person is concerned, it really depends on how their CCNR reads. And so it's either on the master policy or if the individual owner has a separate HO6 condo policy and they are responsible for their own interior, then that would their insurance would cover their flooring. And if they created the liability exposure to for instance, if it was a result that their waterbed punctured and then flooded the unit downstairs, then there would be afforded coverage from their condo policy. But if the pipes just break, it's going to be each individual unit owners unless there was negligence on the part of the owner.
But they can still sue the waterbed company.
That's another issue I won't get into.
I get, but I just caught that. So, like for example, attic infestation. I know quite a few homes who we're selling them, and we go in and inspections and whatnot. So you got attics in California. I guess they're a separate condo for critters.
Right. Well, damage caused by insects and rodents are often not also covered. It's an excluded peril. If you think about insurance, it's a sudden and accidental event, meaning that it didn't happen over the course of time. So normally rodents and insects take a while for them to cause damage, so that is also an excluded peril.
Okay. So how do we fix all that?
Well,
I mean, you got to read your policy, right?
Absolutely. It's essential. I cannot emphasize that clients, when they get their policies, to go through their policies and determine what is and what is not covered so that they can get the proper insurance to cover the perils that they feel that might expose them to damage on their structure as well as their personal contents.
Talking about all this, it just makes me kind of sick because I thought insurances, I've never made a claim or anything like that. So I bought an insurance policy because it was a requirement when I was buying the house.
That is correct.
So they said, do you have one? Well, hello, I need one. So we got an insurance policy, which I'm guilty as charged. I haven't read. I should actually read it and see what's in there so that I can adjust the coverage.
That is correct, because the onus is really on each policy holders. The agent can do only as much as they can to try to educate the policy holder, but you are the one that knows what you own, what you don't, what you can live with a risk, what you can't live with without. So it's important that you have not only a conversation with your insurance professional, but that you take the time to try to educate and read the policy and see what is and is not excluded.
Fantastic. Mark, thank you so much for coming down here and explaining all this.
I had a lot of fun, and I'm glad to be here to educate your audience.
It was cool. I think we nailed it down.
We sure did.
All right. You heard it all here on the Real Estate Junkies. I'm Nick Zigic, and until next time, I'll see you right here on the Real Estate Junkies.